Hey everyone, David C. Anderson here coming at you from the Knife Center. And today we're taking a look at CIVIVI and taking a look at their best EDC pocket knives that you can get your hands on at this point in 2020. Let's check them out. So the CIVIVI brand is sort of the budget sibling to WE Knife Company, who have made a remarkable rise over the last few years thanks to them pumping out a ton of designs that are all built extremely well. Now, the CIVIVI knives are built to the same standards, just with materials and techniques that allow them to cater to more price-conscious shoppers. And honestly, you're not going to feel like you're giving all that much up for the lower price tag of these knives. Now, their lineup consists mostly of in-house designs at this point in time, but they are starting to work with some outside designers, which is only going to up their game. Now, the first one we've got to talk about is the CIVIVI Elementa. It's a simple in-house design which distills the essence of a pocket knife into one of the hottest designs they released last year. The blade itself is a simple drop point with a hollow grind, and it's made from D2 tool steel. Now, the versatility of this shape lends itself to just about any EDC task because it just plain works. And the D2 steel should provide a great deal of edge retention too, especially for the price, because a lot of these CIVIVI models come in right around 50 bucks. Combine that with a blade length of just under 3 inches, and this Elementum is the perfect length to take just about anywhere. It's a flipper opening design, and that flipper fires the blade open quite nicely, because as with most CIVIVIs, the Elementum uses a ball bearing pivot to achieve that action. The handles feature G10 scales over top of a stainless steel liner lock, although micarta and wood options are also available, but it's the shape of the handle that's really noteworthy. Even though it is on the smaller side, I get kind of a 3.5 finger grip with my slightly larger hands, but it has a simple, streamlined shape that's going to fit a variety of different hand sizes, because you don't have any finger grooves or beaks at the pommel that's going to restrict your fingers. It even has a deep carry pocket clip on the back to keep this knife out of sight until you're ready to use the knife. Although on this knife it's not reversible, this is a right side tip-up only clip. With a friendly blade length and a handle that's going to fit most people out there, I almost hesitate to say this as a knife retailer, but this might be the only knife that a lot of folks out there will ever need, and even if it's not for you, this makes a fantastic gift. Alright, next up is a collaboration design with Elijah Isham. It certainly has his signature style, but this Anthropo is one of his most usable designs to date. We've got D2 blade steel again, about 3¼ inches in this case. Again, it's riding on bearings, but we have a full flat grind this time with a nice upswept profile. Close the knife up, and you're going to see this small flipper tab that rather than sticking out the back, it actually sticks up from the top. It gives it a more streamlined profile when it's closed, makes it easier inside your pocket as well, but it still flips nice and easy, and it even disappears when it's open. Now, it's not quite a true finger choil, but it does leave you enough space to choke up for a fuller grip. Now, the handles on this knife are where they really spice things up a bit. They're made of a base layer of colored G10 with a carbon fiber overlay on the top. And then they mill it out with a few lines that complement the handle shape to reveal that color underneath. I've got the blue version here, but red and orange are also available, in addition to a full black handle if you want that. And you can even get an upgrade with a Damascus blade and even a wood handle if you prefer a different vibe. Now, speaking of Damascus, we have another Isham design to show next. This is the Makenna, and this one is wearing that upgraded Damascus blade. Like the Elementum, the Makenna has a blade just under 3 inches long, but this is an even more discreet platform thanks to the narrow G10 handle, again with a liner lock, and that skinny sheep's foot blade. Now, there's still plenty of tip with this knife despite being a sheep's foot. Honestly, it kind of rides the line of Wharncliffe territory a little bit. But that's going to make this a very capable blade for opening packages, cutting down boxes, any kind of draw cuts, all in a very pocketable frame. Now, this knife still has bearings, but in this case we actually get a front flipper opener. Now, you can rock it open quite smoothly, and even I have an easy time flicking that open very easily. Both of these Isham design models even come with a reversible clip for carry on either side, and you're going to get a lot of style and very capable blades to go with it. Now, there's a certain refinement to the Makenna as there is with this next model, which is CIVIVI's first lockback, the Rustic Gent. Now, this is a design that I think is going to appeal to lockback fans and classic slip joint fans alike. In fact, I think they've made a knife for slip joint fans or those who want to be slip joint fans that's safer and easier to carry, and I'll get to that part in just a minute. The rear-mounted lockback keeps the blade secure, but then when you go to close it, it even has a nice half stop just like a good slip joint will. We've got a hollow ground D2 blade again, just under 3 inches as well, and the opening is achieved by fullers on each side, which is essentially a long pull in slip joint parlance. And the handles themselves look really cool. We've got carbon fiber bolsters rather than some kind of metal like a traditional slip joint, and various micarta and G10 options for the main section. Now, I sort of think that the phrase modern traditional gets thrown around a lot these days, but you definitely have to admit that's what's going on here with this pairing of materials on this style of design. Now, as to what I mentioned earlier about this knife being easier to carry, as you can see, we've got no pocket clip on this design, but actually there is, it's just not on the knife itself. The Rustic Gent actually comes with a leather pocket slip, which itself features a deep carry pocket clip, which keeps the knife from tumbling around in your pocket when not in use. And if you want to make it even easier to extract, there's even a hidden lanyard loop at the rear of the knife for more customization. All right, now we're going to start getting into some of CIVIVI's bigger and bolder designs, and we're going to start with the Brigid, which is as close as they've come to a pocket cleaver so far. Now, it's got the same type of construction you've probably come to expect by now. We've got a flipper-equipped D2 blade, ball bearings, and a liner lock with various G10 overlays. And these overlays themselves actually provide a good bit of a handhold on this knife, thanks to their thickness and their nice chamfered edge. This time the blade is flat ground, and I think the shape is sort of in between, so to speak. It's not quite a sheep's foot or a reverse tanto. We actually get a subtle scoop out here on the leading edge, almost like a clip point. I think in use it's most likely going to behave more like a modified sheep's foot, but no matter what you call it, it's ready for hard work. You've got a lot of cutting power in the Brigid, which is held in the pocket surprisingly nicely thanks to a reversible deep carry clip, and it really is deep carry, keeping the knife below the hem of your pocket. Now, it isn't all just brute force though. Thanks to this finger choil right here, you can choke up, and you can definitely apply that tip for those more delicate jobs you might encounter. All right, this next one is one of the original CIVIVI releases, and it's sort of an underappreciated model in my opinion. This is the CIVIVI Naha. Construction is the same as you've seen before, and this one is actually wearing flat ground Damascus instead of the base steel, which in this case, rather than D2, they usually use 9CR18 MOV. With this broad, humpbacked drop point blade and fat handles, this knife actually makes a fantastic folder for taking with you outdoors camping or hiking, maybe even hunting in a pinch too. The broad handle with this dramatic swell right here gives you a lot to hold on to, and it even features a slight contour this way to help it lock into your grip even better. You can certainly do a lot worse when it comes to handle comfort during heavy use. It still has that finger choil for more delicate work too, which I appreciate given the 3 3/4 inch length of the blade itself. It's a single position pocket clip only though, so keep that in mind, but when it comes to a hard use folder in the CIVIVI lineup, I think the Naha is one you definitely ought to check out. All right, next, and roughly the same size as the Naha, is the Insight. The D2 blade is flat ground again, and it flips like a dream with a full handle for big jobs. But that handle styling is what really sets this knife apart from the crowd, and not just the rest of the CIVIVI lineup, but every budget knife out there. We've got alternating layers of colored G10, red in this case, and carbon fiber. And they radius them down not just for comfort, but in order to show off those layers. And they also show off their manufacturing precision as well, because the contouring is absolutely perfect. The way they managed to hit that thin strip of red that follows the edge so precisely is very impressive. It's one of those things that makes you appreciate your tool that much more. The choil on this knife is a little bit smaller, but you can still kind of get your fingertip up in there. And thanks to that fat handle, this is good for bigger jobs as well, but with the blade shape that's more suited to tactical uses than that Naha would have been. And that brings us to our final item, the Wyvern. Now, this is the only knife on this list that features FRN handles. That might seem like a downgrade, but the trade-off is this dragon scale texture designed to mimic its big brother, the integral titanium frame lock WE-Knife Draken. It gives this knife a lot of style, and it's a very nice knife to use as well, because that handle is comfortable as well as grippy. We get a milled titanium pocket clip on the right side, and the hollow ground D2 blade flips just as good as any WE-Knife out there. That blade is D2 and it's almost 3.5 inches long, but thanks to the narrower profile, it should still be very nimble in use. We also get a nice fidget factor with this knife as well. You can certainly open it with the flipper tab here, and as I said, flips just as nice as any WE. You can also use the fuller ahead of this blade cutout to open it two-handed, and thanks to that blade cutout, you can thumb flick it or even do the middle finger flick if you're into that sort of thing. All in all, the Wyvern is a knife that stands out from the crowd, and it's fun to play with, all without sacrificing the ability to work as hard as knives costing a lot more money. So that's it for our list of the best CIVIVI folding knives that you can get your hands on at this point in 2020. And I gotta ask, what did you think of our picks? Be sure to let us know in the comments what your favorites were, and to get your hands on any of them, we're gonna leave links in the description to take you over to KnifeCenter.com. And be sure you sign up for our Knife Rewards program while you're there, because the only thing better than a new knife is free money to spend on your next one. I'm David C. Anderson from the Knife Center, signing off. See you next time. Post-shot show beans. Ball bearing pivot to achieve that action. Words.
More beans.
CIVIVI Reese's.
I love their peanut butter cups.
Final beans.
Bean the sequel.
The Final Frontier.